as you ease into any type of mantra meditation, it can be really helpful to take a moment to actually understand what is a mantra, why we would practice mantra, and how to do it. So that's what this video is all about. Now, the what, why, and how are pretty intertwined, but I'm going to do my best to break it down in those categories anyway. So let's begin with the what. Like, what is this word mantra? A mantra is a sound or a collection of sounds that have a specific vibration that you repeat for a set number of repetitions, either out loud, whispered, or silently in your own head. So again, a mantra is a sound or a collection of sounds that have this specific vibration. Now, a mantra is actually a little different from an affirmation. Affirmations are also really powerful tools that is very similar. It's also a collection of sounds, words in our own language. So whether that's English or whatever your language might be, an affirmation is in your language, whereas a mantra is in the language of Sanskrit. And why this matters is because the language of Sanskrit is very different from all other spoken languages. All other spoken languages, we ascribe a meaning to a word. So for example, the word cat in English has been ascribed to that furry little creature that meows and purrs. Whereas in Sanskrit, the meaning is the sound. So the sound vibration actually is the meaning itself. A nice way to kind of understand that is to think of some of our in kind of emotional expressions. So for example, when you hear somebody laugh, it doesn't matter what language it's in, everybody understands the meaning of laughter. When you hear someone cry, same thing. We understand the meaning. The meaning is the sound. The sound is the meaning. So when you use a mantra, a Sanskrit mantra, you're already lining up with a specific vibration. Whereas when we use affirmations, you usually have to really believe it, believe the statement in order for it to work for you. In Sanskrit, you're already lining up with the vibration, so it's already doing its intended effect on you. Now, of course, you have to learn how to actually pronounce the Sanskrit words with refined alignment in order to access that vibration. So that's a reason why it's really important to actually learn a Sanskrit mantra from someone who's been trained and who's studied and who has permission to teach the mantra. So that's what a mantra is, a collection of sounds or a sound that has a specific vibration that you repeat for a set number of times, out loud, whispered, or silently. So why would we use a mantra? I've kind of mentioned that it has a specific vibration that you're looking to line up with. So that's one reason. For example, the peace mantra helps us line up with that vibration of peace. But we can also talk about the why by looking at the definition itself of the word mantra or mantra. Man comes from the word manas, which means the mind. And then tra is the Sanskrit sound, as is common in Sanskrit, has many meanings. So tra can mean tool or technology. So a mantra is a mind tool. But tra can also mean to protect. So now we know that a mantra is a tool to protect the mind. And tra also means to liberate or transcend. So a mantra is a tool to protect and liberate the mind. I believe that most of us have many times in our life where we feel like our mind is controlling us, right? Where we get caught up in negative type thinking, whether that's fear-based thoughts, angry thoughts, or caught up in a feeling, right? Caught up in fear and anger and depression and low motivation. And so we can use the mantra to actually help us lift out of those painful thoughts or painful feelings. A mantra is a tool to protect and liberate the mind. Sometimes we can't just think our way out of the thought or feeling. Sometimes we can. But in those times where it's really challenging to shift into another perspective, into another feeling, mantra can be a powerful tool because it is the vibration you're looking for. If you're looking to bring more peace and you can't think your way there, the peace mantra is a beautiful tool to help you line up and be that vibration of peace. So that leads us kind of into the how. Now, throughout this whole 21-day series of sharing tips for the mantras, I'm going to be giving you a lot of how tools. But for this video, let's just talk about the very first little bit of the how. So of course, you can use the mantra in the moment you catch yourself in fear-based thoughts. In the moment you catch yourself in any kind of uncomfortable situation of thoughts or feelings, you can start using the mantra right there and then, out loud, whispered, or silently in your own head. However, that's really hard to do if you don't know the mantra really well, right? If you haven't learned and embodied that mantra, it's really hard to remember that you can use it in those times of distress. So that's where a daily mantra meditation practice is a really powerful addition to your life. For one, it will help you remember it. So if you're practicing it daily, you'll remember it in those times you need it. Another, practicing it daily will also help your cells of your body begin to line up with that vibration. Like what we say to our body, what we say without realizing we're talking to our body actually matters, right? The cells pick up on it. They respond. to the things we're thinking and saying. And so by practicing a mantra at a specific vibration, you're actually teaching your cells to respond to that vibration, to line up with it. And that kind of leads to this idea of being able to use mantra to build resiliency, to build that peace vibration, kind of like a physical armor around you. And the more you practice it, the more of that mantric resiliency you'll have. It's kind of like, if you only ate fast food all the time, except for when you get sick, and then you eat all this healthy food to try and get yourself feeling better. It's kind of like that with mantra. Yes, you can ignore the mantra practice and just use it in those times of distress, kind of like a life jacket. But you'll be less likely to even have those times of distress if on the daily you're using a mantra practice. Like if you were daily eating really healthy, good, clean foods. So a daily practice is key. Now that being said, what matters more than, say, how long your practice is every day is just that you're practicing every day. Some teachers will say, oh, you have to, practice for a half hour a day, or you have to, do this or that. That's some great goals for the future. What I suggest to anyone, especially if you're first beginning, or if you just already have a lot of practices you're doing, is to start small. Start small. Again, what matters most is the consistency versus the length. So that might mean that you practice the mantra just 3 repetitions a day. That would take under a minute, or maybe a minute and a half. 3 repetitions a day is much better than once a week of half an hour. So how can you pick, how many repetitions should you do? I like to use the wisdom of numbers to pick. And of course, yogic philosophy teaches us the power of numbers. So the number 3 is that number that aligns with your emotions and creativity. So by picking the number 3 as your set number of repetitions, that might be bringing peace to your emotions, making the creative process really peaceful and easy. Maybe you like the number 4. 4 repetitions give us that sense of grounding and stability. It's like stepping into peace in your life, grounding yourself in peace. The number 5. 5 is the number of transformation. Ooh, transforming your life through peace. Maybe you want the number 7. 7 represents the 7 main chakras, bringing peace to each of the chakra points. The number 9, the number of compassion, forgiveness. And since our mantra, this theme of mantra this month is peace, perhaps the number 9 is your choice of repetitions or variations of the number 9. So in my first video, I used my 27 bead mala bead bracelet, which gave us 27 repetitions equaling the number 9. You could also use 54. 5 plus 4 equals 9. Or 108. a full mala of 108 beads, 108, which is also a very important number, perhaps the most important number in the yogic tradition, for it represents spiritual completion. Why 108? There's a lot of cool reasons around the importance of 108. But in brief, think of the phrase, as above, so below. And as above, we have 9 main planets in the 12 houses, astrologically. 9 times 12 is 108. The distance between the Earth and the Sun is actually 108 times the diameter of the Sun. Super cool. And then the body has 100, so as above, so below. Below here, the body has 108 marma points and these energetic lines through the body. But regardless of what you choose, just make sure it's a number that you can stick with, for a set period of time. Maybe you try a mantra practice for 5 days. Maybe you try it for 27 or 21. Maybe you try it for 40 days. The yogis believe that in order to really begin the tiniest of benefits from a mantra practice, you need to repeat your mantra 108 times for 40 days in a row. So 40 consecutive days. Why do the days have to be consecutive? Like, why can't you just practice on weekdays and then take the weekends off? It's kind of like if you were boiling water and you kept turning the heat down. It would take, like, the water just wouldn't boil, right? You have to keep the heat turned up. Keep the heat turned up consistently for that water to eventually boil. It's the same with mantra practice. If you're trying to line up with a certain vibration, like the peace vibration, that actually means you're using the mantra to help you burn away whatever isn't in that vibration of peace. So at minimum, 108 times for 40 days. That being said, if that's going to stop you from practicing, start where you're at. Start where you're at. Again, 3 repetitions a day for every day will be much more effective than once a week at 108 times. Start small until you crave the practice and want to do more. Now, I keep showing you these mala beads. You might be wondering, like, why? Why would we use a mala bead? Well, this helps you keep the repetitions, especially for those longer ones, right? So 27 would be kind of hard to keep track of in my head. Definitely 108 would be hard. So if you happen to have a mala bead, a little trick for holding them. Hold it on the ring and baby finger. And then use your middle and thumb to actually move the beads towards you, towards your heart, instead of away, towards you. And it's said to not use the pointer finger, which is kind of our represents our ego, our negative version of ego. However, if you find that that's just really too hard to use the middle finger and the thumb, do what works. Do what works. Don't let these rules kind of get in your way, and just say, I'm going to use the good part of my ego. All right? The individual part. The part that makes me unique in who I am. But that's how you can use the mala. But if you don't have a mala, that's okay. I like to use my fingers sometimes by bringing thumb to baby, thumb to ring, thumb to middle, thumb to pointer, and sometimes thumbs up. So if you were using like the number 9, you could use each of the fingers, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Thumbs up. If you were using the number 5, you could do each repetition 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. If you're using 4 repetitions, just the fingers, and so on. Or if you want to use more repetitions, but you don't really want to count or use a counting device, it's also perfectly acceptable to set a timer. Maybe okay, I will give 1 minute a day. So you set a timer for 1 minute a day and practice your mantra for that minute, or 3 minutes, or 5, or 9, or maybe 27. Maybe you want to work up to that. Remember, consistency is more important than the number of repetitions or the length of time. So today, I invite you just to pick the how for you. Pick what feels like a good number for me to start off with, whether it's the number of repetitions or whether it's the length of time. Pick something small so that you crave it. And give it a try today. Let's end this video with, let's do 5 repetitions. So the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 of our peace mantra together. Take a deep breath in and a deep breath out. Loka samasta sukhino bhavantu. 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 Shanti. 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 Peace in and peace out with the power of the Sanskrit mantra for peace. Thanks for tuning in. See you next time.